Hello? I think I'm lost. Hey, is that me from 2014? It's me from 2016. Guys, I think we're in an end of year special, but what year is this?
Sorry I was late. I was at the supermarket panic buying toilet roll and Scotch eggs, and then I got stopped by the police because I accidentally entered Tier 4, and then I got stuck in traffic on the way back because all the lorries going to Dover, and then I nearly crashed into Dominic Cummings on his way back from Barnard Castle. Anyway, while I was out, I popped over to Wembley Stadium to pick up some lasagna. Do you guys want any? Welcome to the David Frankal Show, and sorry it's been so long. The last 5 months have been somewhat unusual. There's been plenty to talk about, but there have been times I haven't always wanted to talk so much, at least not to the entire internet. So let's recap what's happened since the last episode in July. As the first lockdown came to an end, I finally escaped North London, but it was still several months before I was due to start university at Durham. There was a period of a few weeks where it looked absolutely certain that the rest of my family would be imminently returning from a man to the UK. As you can see, that didn't end up happening, at least not this summer. In the end, the rest of my family came over to the UK for the summer. We spent a few months basically filling time, moving from place to place, taking advantage of what limited travel corridors did exist in the long summer of COVID. After spending a few weeks in Manchester with my mum, we were joined by my dad and Noam, and we spent 2 weeks in an Airbnb house near Cirencester. Once the other half had finished their quarantine period, we drove down to Cornwall, where we'd never been before, visiting the Eden Project in Land's End. Then we went to Venice. I actually visited Venice on my Interrail trip. I spent the day there last year, but this time I was able to take it a little bit more slowly and enjoy it more, and I definitely enjoyed it more the second time round. Then we took the railjet to Vienna, then we split. Dad and Noam returned to the UK and back to Muscat, and my mum and I continued to Budapest, where we spent the best part of a month. We usually spend a week or two in Hungary every summer, but this time we didn't have a house in the UK to rush back to, so we stayed a bit longer, took it a bit more slowly, saw our family, also travelled around Hungary a little bit, visiting the Balaton, Pécs, Eger and Lillaföld. We flew back to the UK in mid-September, spending a bit of time on the south coast visiting Eastbourne and Portsmouth. I finally went to the Isle of Wight to ride the old 1938 tube stop trains, which had been on my list for a while, and then we travelled up via Manchester to Durham, picking up a few boxes of stuff on the way. Starting university during a pandemic has been a very weird experience. So far, all of my lectures and all but one of my tutorials have been online via Zoom. I'm pretty relieved. I'm actually enjoying my subject quite a lot, because otherwise I think I'd be feeling a little bit despairing about the whole thing, to be honest. It's been very difficult to get to know people. All the societies and everything are either over Zoom or non-existent. On the plus side, the Bill Bryson Library is open, and I've often gone there to borrow books, even though I could read them online. It's still nice once in a while to have a physical paper book, so I don't spend all damn day staring at the same screen. It's also a useful place to get my head down and work without procrastinating, as I spend most of the rest of the day in my room. You'll have probably noticed that I haven't uploaded very much at all since I started term at university, because I'm spending all day on my screen basically already, doing reading and watching lectures and everything. I feel pretty demotivated. I spent the first 7 months of this year, mainly over lockdown, editing a lot of videos, and I think I've burned myself out a little bit. And I don't really want to force myself to if I'm not enjoying it, because otherwise it just ends up like more work on top of reading and lectures. I have picked up the video editing a little bit since I got back to Muscat, so you will notice more content being uploaded over the next few months. Getting here was a rigmarole. I had to get a test before the flight, get a second test on arrival, quarantine for 7 days, and then get a third test, and then I was finally let out. But I think it's worth it so that I can spend my Hanukkah/Christmas/New Year holiday with my family in this small island in the world where some semblance of relative normality can be found. You'll remember at the end of the last episode where I weighed up what the government had done well and badly during the first wave. It gives me no pleasure at all to say that we haven't really learned very much from the first wave at all, and despite a much more advanced understanding of the virus, much more expanded testing, widespread mask wearing, and way more time to prepare, we are now back where we were at the peak of the first wave in April. Despite months of time and billions of pounds, we still don't have a functioning test and trace system. Serco have proven themselves to be completely incompetent, such as the day in September where they missed 16,000 positive cases because they were using an old version of Microsoft Excel. It seems Dido Harding has challenged Chris Grayling himself for the title of the most useless and incompetent Tory. The so-called whack-a-mole strategy of local lockdowns and then tiers has had limited success in slowing local outbreaks, as sadly did the month-long lockdown we had in November. And then to add yet more gasoline to the fire, a new, more infectious strain of COVID has been spreading across London and the South East, prompting the entire region to be put into Tier 4, while half the world has closed its borders to the UK. Oman has in fact closed all of its borders. So I'm stuck here now. This has continued to be a year of complete farces. The same government in the middle of a complex negotiation with the EU over trading arrangements failed to negotiate a deal with Greater Manchester over Tier 3, prompting this dramatic and slightly absurd standoff with Andy Burnham, newly crowned King of the North. While the pandemic was spreading across the country, the government became increasingly bogged down in an argument over whether or not a Scotch egg counts as a substantial meal. Honestly, it's the satire writers I feel sorry for. But let's look at the positive news. Donald Trump has lost the 2020 presidential election. Or at least that's what the corrupt globalist media want you to think, because they're covering up the fact that the Democrats rigged the election using a bunch of dead people's ballots, or whatever. Joe Biden has promised to bring the US back into the Paris Climate Agreement on the first day of his new administration. We have a Brexit trade deal. Literally days before the end of the transition period, we have finalised an agreement. Obviously, there's no deal in the world that will ever be as good as EU membership, but as a former Remainer, all I can say at this point is fine. Okay, can we please just move on? Dominic Cummings dramatically resigned last month. No, not over the Barnard Castle scandal, but over some petty internal fight in Number 10 that nobody gives a shit about. Quite a fitting end, I think. And finally, a real spark of good news is that COVID-19 vaccinations are now underway across the UK and the world. As of recording, over 600,000 people in the UK have at least received their first dose. So as we look ahead to 2021, we can take solace in at least one thing. Whatever happens, it can't possibly be worse than this year. With Brexit presumably done and dusted and COVID-19 at the very worst in retreat, I wonder what things will be like this time next year. Let's ask our super forecasters. It's time to play Place Your Bets. Hello and welcome to Place Your Bets 2020 edition. There are 5 questions. Each contestant guesses what the answer will be in exactly 1 year's time, the 31st of December 2021. Everybody gets 10,000 imaginary pounds each and places a bet on each guess. So let's meet our contestants. I'm David Frankal.
Hi, it's Hadassah. I'm currently in a competition with David to see who can grow our hair the longest and messiest, so this is going great. I have no idea what to predict, because if this year has taught me anything, it's that stability doesn't exist and your life can be crushed in a matter of seconds or minutes or days.
Hello, David and David's viewers. Hello. My name's Gareth Dennis. I'm a railway engineer, writer, and, all sorts of other nonsense. I also the host of RailNatter, a weekly railway podcast that always ends up being very long, available to listen to, but also on the YouTube live every Wednesday at 7 p.m. UK time. Join in. I'm drinking sherry because it's the holiday season and it's delicious. Oh, and you can follow me on Twitter at Gareth Dennis if you're a glutton for punishment.
Hi, my name's Paul Lucas, and thanks David for inviting me to take part in Place Your Bets 2020. I am a full-time YouTube vlogger and I mostly post reviews of my train and plane trips all around the world. You can find me at my channel, Paul Lucas Winging It. You can also find me on Twitter and Instagram at the same handle for both, at Paul_Winging It.
Hello, I'm Dan and I'm at Vienna Airport.
Hello there, I'm Joel. I'm a musician, train spotter and a bit of a politics nerd. You can follow me at Joel_Colyer on Twitter, and I also have a dormant kind of train spotting YouTube channel called GM Trainspotting, and it's very close to 1,000 subscribers, so if you subscribe that would be very nice.
I'm András Forgács, and you can listen to my audio play Tess and the Pest on Bandcamp or on Anchor.fm or on Google Podcasts or on iTunes. Anyway, if you would like to listen to a comedic play about the genius Leo Szilard and Tess Simpson and how they saved hundreds of refugee scientists in the 1930s, this is definitely your thing.
Hi, I'm Liam. I am part of the Chiltern Trainspotters on YouTube. Go and subscribe. And I am also leading Gareth photography on Instagram, so go and follow me there. Cheers.
Hello, I am Coastway Will, Coastway_Will on Twitter, and I tweet a lot about trains, and I travel on trains, including things like the Class 313, because I have no sanity left these days.
Hello, I'm Will, or on YouTube I know, or Twitter anywhere, I'm known as AdventurerWill. I have a dead channel. I do have a live channel called TheHSRailFan. Yeah, I'm going to fail at this badly.
My name's Baron, and I am David's proud dad.
I am Bori Pőcz, and I'm no mother of nobody, no wife of nobody, and everybody can kiss my ass.
Question 1. What are the latest COVID-19 regulations, if any, in the UK? And putting £3,000 on masks still being obligatory on public transport.
COVID regulations are all done. Over and out, finished, not. And I will put £8,000 on that.
The UK is just going into the 9th lockdown, national lockdown, because unfortunately the vaccines turn out not to be effective against the 26th new strain discovered since January.
And how much money are you betting on that extremely pessimistic answer?
Oh, 2,000.
So the latest COVID rules are, they're mostly relaxed. Mask wearing is still compulsory in most places, but on the whole, the restrictions are fairly light on the ground, and I am going to bet 3,000 on that.
There would be relaxed rules, and I think there would be a government program of some sort to encourage people to get the vaccine, or just get vaccinated in general. And I'm betting 2,000 quid.
What are the latest COVID restrictions in the UK? Easy, no mass gatherings, and I'm placing £4,000 on that.
So my guess is there are going to be 16 tiers. They're all going to be represented by famous British woodland animals. That's my guess for that one. And I'm putting it. I'm putting in my guess. I'm pitching it of the 10,000. I'm putting 1,500 quid towards that one.
I don't think there are going to be any COVID-19 restrictions in the UK this time next year. I will put £5,000 on that answer. I don't even think we're going to have mandatory vaccinations, not even to work in healthcare, not even to work in care settings and care homes. I don't think there will be any more COVID-19 restrictions on December 31st, 2021.
So I'm going to place 3,000 of my imaginary pounds on the fact that there are no current coronavirus restrictions if you have a vaccine. And if you don't have a vaccine, then probably not either, as by the time we get round to the end of the year, I think so many people will be vaccinated that we'll probably just forget about coronavirus, hopefully.
Currently, the UK is on its 15th lockdown, where London, Liverpool and Greater Manchester moved to Tier 15. There is no clear difference between Tier 15 and Tier 14, other than the outdoor gyms are only open between 2 p.m. and 3:30 p.m. on every odd Tuesday. And I wager £4,500 on this.
There will be no sports crowds or large gatherings permitted, but meeting outside or inside is relatively unrestricted. There won't be any masks on public transport or shops, and I'm putting £1,500 on it.
Hopefully there won't be any more COVID rules. The main two risks, though, are that there'll be a strain that the vaccine doesn't work against, or that not enough people will take it, so we won't have herd immunity. And you all better be taking your stupid vaccines, okay? Don't let me catch you not taking a vaccine. Thank you very much. So I'm going to put £3,000 on there'll be a new restriction for people that don't have vaccines, like certain countries they're not allowed to travel to, or certain indoor activities that they won't be allowed to participate in, etc., if they've not been vaccinated.
Question 2. Which British politician has just made a complete arse out of themselves, and how? I'm guessing that Daniel Kaczynski has tweeted that the EU is basically stopping the UK from fighting climate change for £2,500.
Priti Patel, and she said that she's going to use fishing boats to deport immigrants to France. And I'm going to put £1,000 on that.
Boris Johnson, because he's Boris Johnson, and I'm placing 2,000 on that.
So Matt Hancock has made a complete ass of himself because he hasn't distributed the vaccine correctly, and as a result there are lots of gaps in the vaccine that need to be filled, and I am going to bet 3,000.
Boris or someone from the Conservative Party has said something really stupid and they posted on Twitter or just said in general. I'm betting on that 500 quid.
I'm going to put £1,000 on this because I don't know any British politicians, and the second I learn about them, they get fired. So I'm going to go with Boris once again. And I'm going to guess that he's done some sort of cultural cock-up, that he is like misunderstood a culture or a religion. He's also like worn a capel, which is the equivalent of me putting on a bindi or a hijab or something that is just not appropriate because that is not part of my religious garb and is just not on. So I'm going to put £1,000 on him misunderstanding a culture and like trying but failing miserably.
I don't have much confidence in my answer, but I'm going to put £500 on Chris Grayling to return to the front bench and award a rail franchise to a minicab firm.
I'm not going to put any money at all on this one, but I will give a wild guess that Boris Johnson has annoyed Joe Biden somehow by making some kind of off-colour remark about politics in the US.
Oh, well, it's Keir Starmer, obviously. You know, everyone's going to be answering, it's the Tories, it's an easy win, but Keir Starmer is making an arse of himself, and I don't know, by pushing through something, by voting for something the government has suggested again. That's the way I reckon he's made an arse of himself. But I'm only putting 500 quid towards that because I see it's pretty predictable. So look, rubbish odds.
Since Boris Johnson quit because he just realised it's not fun, Michael Gove is the new Prime Minister. Maybe he just cancelling every exams for good. Another 2,000.
So I'm going to go for, what's the name of the leader of the Lib Dems again? Ed Davey, him. And he has just forgotten to turn up at the TV studio, which is booked in. I'm going to put £1 on that.
I'm going to say that for £1,000 that Boris Johnson's son hasn't become a world-renowned artist yet.
Question 3. What accidentally stupid thing has Joe Biden said? He's insinuated that 2 degrees Celsius of global warming isn't enough and that we should be aiming for higher, and I'm betting £2,500 on that.
I'm not confident at all with this one. I'm not going to put any money on this question at all, but here's another wild guess. He said something with a stutter that has simply come out wrong.
I'm reckoning he's going to say you can solve climate change by buying a shotgun. Putting 2,500 quid towards that, actually.
No, he just said goodbye before he died. 2,000 on it.
I think he confused the name Trump with rump and made some fantastic slip of the tongue along those lines, for which I will put on £999.
Joe Biden has made a quip about packing the Supreme Court, which has been taken out of context and made to sound like that's his intention. And I'm going to put £2,500 on that.
I think everyone is a bit too hard on Joe Biden. At the very least, he's a well-meaning person and his gaffes are really not that bad. It's not like he would start a Twitter fight with another world leader. But I think for £250, he will call Boris Johnson a rapscallion.
I don't really know, to be honest, because I haven't really heard Joe Biden say anything stupid. There is, sure, but he'll be the president, so he has a huge spotlight on him. But I'm just going to say something about minority. 3,000 quid.
Biden has said that the economy has almost been completely rebuilt for America after the pandemic, even though he is still desperately trying to recover from the pandemic. And I'm going to bet 2,000 on that.
Something about his family and him loving them so much, and now place £500 on that.
Oh, actually, I'm going to swap these around. Sorry, David. I'm going to put £2,000 on question 2 and £1,000 on question 3. Sorry. I'm going to put £1,000 on Biden mispronouncing a word, like the name of a country or something that he just doesn't realise and correct, and it will be like the new covfefe thing.
For 1,500 of my imaginary pounds, I'm going to say that he said something deeply hurtful and rude about Kamala Harris.
Question 4. What is Elon Musk's latest useless invention? I'm putting £1,000 on a self-driving Tesla with a jacuzzi.
1,500 quid on the fact that he's made a brand new laser pointer gun thing that he's selling for about 3p.
A maglev car which can only run on his own road network, and I'm going to put £1,000 on that one.
I reckon it's going to be roads again. He's going to invent roads again, just like he has with Loop. He's just going to invent roads again. But I'm putting £5,000 towards that because other people think of crazy things, but actually, if you pay attention, you realise that Elon Musk is not actually that imaginative. He just invents things that really have been done already.
I'm quite confident with this one. I'm going to put £4,000 on the answer that Elon Musk will have invented nothing in 2021. He claimed to have invented the Hyperloop a few years ago, but that's basically underground train service. So
Elon Musk just came up with the idea of a time machine that's supposed to take you back to your youth, but unfortunately it's stuck in reverse mode and it takes everybody into their old age. £1 for £1.
I think it's a self-driving milk float bringing back the bottle, and for that I will also put £1.
But I'm going to put 250 quid on Elon Musk to unveil the Tesla personal submarine.
Originally I wanted to say lightsabers, but they're copyrighted, so I'm going to put £1,000 on something alcohol related. So like, I don't know, like he'll release a whiskey with his brand, or he'll use like alcohol as fuel for something, because I've heard that there are a few cars that use wine instead of petrol, and I think one of the princes or one of the members of the royal family has one of those cars, and I think that would be like a very manly, macho thing to like have a lightsaber that runs on Stellar or something.
Elon Musk has invented another type of rocket to Mars, and it has probably exploded on the way up, and I am going to bet 1,000 on that.
He's said or given something really stupid about that's like, oh great, it's an alternative to public transport, and I think he's going to try and get the New York mayor to do something or something like that. So I'm gonna put in 1,000 quid.
A car that runs on human waste, and I'm going to place £1,000 on that.
And finally, what is Donald Trump up to these days? Donald Trump is embroiled in an argument with the Scottish government over whether or not he cheated at golf, and I'm placing £1,000 on that.
I pray, I hope and I pray that Donald Trump will be in prison this time next year. I mean, he's had so many allegations against him. He has evaded his taxes and has blatantly flaunted it. So it would really make my day if someone could get that man in prison and held accountable for every stupid thing that he has done. And I'm going to put £3,000 on it because I really want it to happen.
And finally, if my math is correct, I have £3,000 left, so I'm going to place that on Donald Trump having his own media outlet, as well as still, well, trying to use Twitter for a little bit until it got banned.
I'm going to be optimistic for this one. Let's end on an optimistic one. He's in jail. But because I reckon it's very unlikely, I'm only putting 500 quid towards it.
Fifth and final question, and I've got £1,000 left in the kitty. And I think he will not have accepted his loss. I think also that he will have been monetising that loss in some way. I think he will probably have released a book on the back of his time in office that's going to get him into a lot of trouble. But whatever he's doing, he's certainly monetising the loss and not accepting the fact that he's no longer the President of the United States.
For £4,000, Donald Trump is running a TV network with the sole purpose of discrediting the Biden White House before a 2024 run to reclaim the presidency.
He's out of America. He's gone to somewhere like Scotland and tried to take over Boris Johnson's role. And I'm going to place £2,500 on that.
Donald Trump is currently in a legal battle to try and get more recounts in Georgia, and I am going to bet 1,000 on that.
December 2021, I think Donald Trump will be back at the Trump Tower in New York, and he's going to be banned off Twitter. I'm going to bet 3,500 on that.
It's tricky, because I have a hard time to think of anything funny about him. But I'm almost certain, to the tune of £4,500, that by 31st of December he got his Twitter account suspended for a week. And that was the best week of 2021. Oh, and he's one of the hosts of his own show on his own television network, which is now in direct competition with OANN and Newsmax.
Donald Trump is still fighting to prove that he actually won the election. Meanwhile, he's playing golf in the New Independent Scotland and wrote a book about himself being the bestest president of the United States. And this is for 3,999.
I think Donald Trump is pushing up daisies. I think he's dead. So I'm going to put £999 on that.
Well, there you have it. We'll find out who won in 1 year's time. In the meantime, the results for last year's game has been uploaded as a separate video, which you can watch here. Oh, and on the topic of good news, I asked everybody playing what was their highlight of 2020. What's one good thing that's happened? It can be general or can be personal to them. I mean, for me, the obvious choice is Donald Trump losing the election, but to be unique, I'll say Pacer Trains finally being withdrawn from the Northern Network.
So, due to lockdown circumstances, my wife has rediscovered her fantastic, extremely short hair, which you're about to see shortly.
I started to learn Italian. Scazzo duro di cavallo.
I'm going to be, okay, positive note. Let's end on a positive note. This year has been absolutely rubbish, but it has shown us the art of the possible. It's shown us what can be achieved. Whether it's, massive, drastic changes to our urban fabric by introducing lots of cycle schemes in low traffic neighbourhoods all of a sudden, whether it's massive change telling everyone to not do a thing like, I don't know, not go outdoors or not go to restaurants to solve a problem. We've shown the art of the possible. Now we need to just implement it for things that don't seem quite as immediately dangerous, like, I don't know, climate change. And on that positive note, I'm gonna clear off and leave you all in peace and quiet with a sip of delicious sherry and wishing you all a merry and happy Hogmanay and 2021.
I do think that this year, with all the lockdowns and the restrictions that it's put in our lives, has made a lot of people realise, no matter what tough times they were going through, that made them realise the importance of home and family. And I think that's really important, and it's something that I've certainly realised, being someone who travels around an awful lot. Home and family definitely are things that can't be replaced.
I became the record holder to visit all 99 Metrolink stops in the shortest amount of time.
Taking myself to the Isle of Wight, it was something really special for me. I haven't been to the Isle of Wight in a long time.
One good thing that has happened in 2020, we still technically had a summer, and I still managed to get quite a lot of trips done in August.
It would have to be them first 2 months of the year. They were amazing. I'm just going out all the time with mates and stuff like that. School was still on.
That's it for this episode. Stay tuned for a new episode of Train News, plus a Train News bonus video about sleeper trains and the Trans-Europe Express 2.0. As for everything else, as I've said, I don't want to put too much pressure on myself to edit, but I will work through those videos at my own pace, and you'll certainly see more over the next few months than you have over the last few months. Despite uploading basically nothing over the last few months, the channel has grown a huge amount since the last episode, mainly thanks to the success of these three videos, Berlin Wall, What Happened to the Trains, and these two Train News bonus videos on Northern Rail and HS2. This video in particular, Berlin Wall, What Happened to the Trains, has gained over 200,000 views over the last few months, which is astonishing. It's by far the most successful video on my channel. In the last episode I celebrated hitting 3,000 subscribers. I'm now over 8,000, mainly, again, thanks to this video. So to all of you who are new here, welcome aboard. I hope you stick around. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe.
Hey people, listen up! It's a fucking lockdown!
So there it is. The UK has left the European Union.
Sharon. From this evening, I must give the British people a very simple instruction. You must stay at home.
So one of the things that they're doing is they're actually working on making a massive lasagna.
As of 9 a.m. today, there have been 974,000 tests.
With contact tracing.
We agreed that we should go for a short drive to see if I could drive safely. We drove for roughly half an hour and ended up on the outskirts of Barnet Castle town.
We were getting ready to win this election. Frankly, we did win this election.
And it ain't over till every vote is counted. Every ballot is counted.
The media said Joe Biden's president. Ha 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 ha.
If someone is packing a bag right now, listening to or watching this, trying to leave the southeast by midnight tonight,
My short answer would be, please unpack it.
I mean, it's brutal, to be honest, isn't it?